So what's going on, guys? I'll just explain to people who are new or are just wondering what's going on. Last time we had a meeting, we had a few people from South America. So we're working with a lady from Argentina, Annabella, who is pretty much going to take over or look after South America along with Larissa. And that's mainly because of language barriers. Although, you know, the South Americans are very welcome to join the English versions of these as well to try and get some networking, which will be great. I'm sitting in on the South American meetings, which is kind of interesting because I get little bits I generally follow, but it's really hard. So I do understand that it's really hard for the South Americans who don't have, even if they do speak a bit of English, I'm sure it's hard to follow. So they're holding another meeting later in the week, and they'll be discussing other, like the same issues that we're discussing and probably a few others as well. And they're quite a big group, so they've been we have been quite successful along with Annabella's help and Larissa in recruiting a large number of areas. You wouldn't know that from the list yet because a lot of them haven't got their projects up. So I've just sent them an email today to try and encourage them. But we had another city come up today from the very south of Brazil.
Yeah. With
the area on there. So I've put that up on the system already. So yeah, South America's doing pretty well. Africa's gone a bit quiet, of course, because of COVID. But hopefully we'll speak to some other people. Botswana, the capital's shut down at the moment, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen there. So we'll see. I think we should probably start the meeting. We'll just, as people can come in, they can just join in. So I've sent you guys a link with the agenda on there. So it's a Google document, so we can edit it as we go. You guys can have a look and add bits and pieces. What I'll get you to do though is at the very top is a list of attendees. So can I just get you to put your name in there and which area you are from, and that should update as we watch. Okay. Now the first bit is a bit of housekeeping. So we'd like to have a fairly open communication with everyone. So if you need to get in contact with us at the moment, we've got a Gmail account. I wouldn't mind having a live sort of thing like WhatsApp, but we'll have to sort of look at that. This is early days for this. It's the first year we've run this. So with the City Nature Challenge, they've used a Slack channel, which I think it worked reasonably well. I didn't really use it too much because I find it a little bit awkward. But once you get used to it, it's quite good. But we just didn't have very much action here in Australia for that. So I wouldn't mind trying to work out something like WhatsApp or some other sort of thing. So if anyone's got any suggestions around communicating that way, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, we have a generic Gmail. Excuse me a second. Can you shut the door, please? And can you guys be quiet, please? Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah, which you guys all have, and that will go to everyone. So we should get to that relatively quickly. Yeah, and can I just make sure that all of the organisers have your emails and other details on the spreadsheet that we put forward for organisers? Make sure that's all up to date. And if you could you put in your rough population size and your area of your project, just so we know how to compare the different projects as we go forward, because some areas are massive with small populations and some are really small with massive populations. So just so we sort of have a bit of an idea as to, you know, how to, I suppose, analyse the data later on, that'd be good. There is a tool there which I got off the City Nature Challenge, which might allow you to calculate the area. There's also on the Google Map document, which I can copy and put into the organisers folder. If you just go on your area, that'll give you a rough idea as to, if you hover over it or edit the document, it'll show you a rough idea of the area on the polygon that I've created, which is roughly about the same size as your area. So that's a bit of a cheap way of doing it. So if you get stuck, we can just do it that way. Okay. And I think everyone here has, but if you haven't already, we need to add your project to the spreadsheet, so I can add it to the umbrella project and the maps and everything else. So make sure it's all been updated. Oops, that's moving. This isn't reading it. And check your project and make sure it's on the website. I've just added them on the website under the areas section. I'll just bring that up. Actually, if I just bring that up on here, that might work better.
I just realized I haven't actually added Brisbane to that. I will do that now.
Was that Michelle?
I said, I just realized I haven't actually added Brisbane to the list yet. I've made the project, I just haven't added it.
No, it's there. I think it's there.
It is?
Yeah, I've been adding it in there. So we go to the, I'm doing backdoor stuff here. So.
Oh yeah, there it is.
It's being a bit slow.
That's an impressive list.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot. We're going to get a lot more. There's no Argentine sites on there, so that's going to be. I think they've got quite a few from Argentina, and I think we're missing a few from Brazil.
Yeah.
So if we go to the participating areas. So we have the way this works is we have a little Google document, a Google map thing. So we draw little polygons on that, and that updates live to the map. So you should be able to just zoom in. And I can see on my screen you, Claudia. So we'll look at Canberra just because you're there. So that'll bring a link to your project. Okay, and it'll show we're on the map. So if we go down here, we've got these other ones in Victoria. So Rod's been pretty active in Victoria, so making up these projects. Unfortunately, he hasn't had people to really run the project, so he's doing a lot of it himself. I think he's looking at trying to generate interest, which is really good. He's got the energy to do that. It's fantastic. Okay, and then if you go below, I've added all the projects down here. So South America, Oceania, and Africa. I've only got a few projects in Africa at the moment, but we've got quite a few within Australia, and South America, I think, will be significantly larger than that because there's only 4, 5, they're mainly Brazilian projects. So Argentina hasn't put their projects on. I think we've got 2 or 3 from Colombia as well. So hopefully they'll get that together soon.
Nice work. Looks good.
Yeah, it's a bit fiddly, but it's looking good, I think. Yeah, thanks, Pete. Yeah, so if there's any areas around here, I think everyone in Australia is on and organised, but it's not too late if there's new areas that want to join. So I think we can pretty much do that. It just means that there's a few things they've got to catch up on a little bit. Now, Let's projects. So if you do see any errors in there that are substantial, just let me know and I can tidy those up for you. If there's any errors in the where your city is or your city's not showing up, let me know. Okay, and now the next thing is, I'm not sure what you guys are doing as far as education goes. If any of you are new to iNaturalist, so you'll see on the agenda there's a couple of links there. There's a link to a teacher's guide. So if you want to get schools or other young groups involved, there's a guide there to how to do that, because the problem we get a lot on iNaturalist, I don't know if you guys have much experience with it, is that teachers go in thinking they can do a lot, and unfortunately they don't read the guides that well, and they go ahead and they don't really do a good job, and ends up being a lot of poor observations and poor behaviours being submitted. So there's a couple of guys there giving some teachers and educators some hints on how to improve those sorts of things. There's also a link there on managing projects. So some of you are new to managing projects, so it'd probably be a good idea to have a look at that. I can help you out if you're having any issues around that. And also Thomas is pretty experienced in doing that sort of stuff, particularly on iNaturalist. I'm not sure, I think Pete is as well. But it's all pretty intuitive. And I think any of us can give you a bit of a hand with that if you need to. Now, probably the big thing I want to talk about, and jump in if you've got any questions or you want to ask anything at all. But I think that what we need to talk about is a bit of a roadmap to success. I think in order to have a successful BioBlitz in your area, there are a few things we need to do. And one of them is having a social media strategy. Now, what I'm doing myself is I'm doing a lot of the social media for the GSB itself. I'm doing the the GSB on Twitter. I'm doing a fair bit of the Facebook and a bit of the Instagram, as well. Seamus is helping out with some Instagram, and some other people are doing some of the Facebook as well. But I'm doing a fair bit of that. But we've also got a local Facebook page, and I would suggest that having some sort of a presence on social media is important. You don't necessarily have to have your own Facebook page. You could, if you're doing it as part of a group or you're doing it as part of a council, you can post things on Facebook that way. There can be some difficulties around doing that though with councils. So there can be a lot of improvements. It can be a bit difficult to do things ad hoc, so you've got to have things planned out relatively well. If you wish to set up a new page, you can do that. We have some here as examples. I'll bring them up now. Oops, wrong one. No, I can't do it. No, okay. I'll bring up the Facebook. Okay, so here's the English language version. Can you guys see Facebook now, or is
Not populated yet.
no? Okay, that's cool. Just make sure I'm on the right one.
Yep.
So this is the generic one.
Can you drop Remy there?
Oh, I can't see a thing here.
Just exit. Yeah, there we go.
No worries. I'll view it as a visitor. Okay, so this is the generic, not the generic, the event page, I suppose. So we're posting to this reasonably regularly. And you can post on from here because this will bring people back to the central sort of Facebook hub, I guess. Larissa has also made one up in Portuguese where she's posting on from here, and I'm posting some things off from South America as well. Okay. Now, also, if you're going to be using Facebook, which I do recommend, particularly in Australia, because we get the best engagement out of Facebook rather than things like Twitter or Instagram. Please link in with each other. So let us know where they are. There's actually a column S through V for social media in the spreadsheet. So populate those so we know which platforms you're using and what Twitter handles or whatever else you're using. That really helps out because then we can sort of, if I'm posting stuff that's relevant to New South Wales, for example, then I can tag everyone in New South Wales. Or if I'm doing some posts in, say, Africa, I can tag everyone in Africa. If you've got things that are like organisations that you think might be relevant, just let us know of those. There's a spreadsheet in the organisers folder, oops, which has Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook tags and handles or accounts that you can use. So this is our South Australian main page, just as an example. Now we've just recently rebranded this. There's a little typo there. We won't look at that. The reason why we've done that is because this is the page we set up originally for the City Nature Challenge, and I set this up relatively early on, a few months, like quite a few months early, prior to the event, and I did a lot of social media, so I've gotten a reasonably good following. Some of the other areas we're waiting on other people to help them with social media. That was sort of lined up, but some of those things fell through. So they started their social media a bit later on. So I guess what I'm saying is you need to have that momentum. You need to build it up to get that bit of following as well. So you might not get a huge following in the first year, but if you wish to keep this going over a couple of years, or hand this off to someone else, it's a good idea to set up a local page or a group, and it'll take some time to grow, but it'll start growing. Our page didn't do anything for a few weeks, and then it started taking off. So we also have like the local pages here, so we can show you some things about posting to other groups and things like that. The idea is if you can't just post it to your social media, you do need to share it or have people to share it for you. If you just post things on your page or your group, you don't get much action. And it's about making people aware of what we're doing. Also, for English, you can tag us if you use Twitter or Facebook at GSB, GS Spyblitz, or on the Portuguese account as well. Okay.
I just wanted to add, Stephen.
Yeah, sure.
So in terms of the social media pages, I think that's probably the most important channel that you'll be able to utilize to encourage people to participate in your region. I can't speak for the entire Southern Hemisphere or other countries and how that sort of works, but if you wish to recruit people, that is your best method. And so as Stephen's saying, set up something on, primarily Facebook, but also Instagram's quite good if you know how to use hashtags effectively. And we've got a couple of resources linked in our organisers information section on our website. And also on the Q&A section, there's some resources on there, namely some graphics that you can use. You can edit the GSB logo to your region. We don't mind. And yeah, so we just really encourage doing that, and that should definitely get more people involved.
That's right. That's right, Seamus. I mean, social media is not everyone's cup of tea, and it is a bit of a hard slog. However, I mean, there are some other things I'll talk about in a minute, but that they can be a bit difficult and a bit problematic unless you have, depending on the area that you're involved in and what the connectivity is like. If we go into the organisers spreadsheet, just while we're on social media, if you go into, everyone should have access to this folder here, and I've actually rearranged this a little bit. So we have Oceania folders. So if you want to set up your own little folder in here and pop bits and pieces in there, feel free to. We have a folder here for presentations as well. This is the English presentation. I will ask you that you copy and download this if you wish to make alterations to it, or if you wish to use it, because it's already disappeared off the system once. So just be careful. It does happen, but if you copy it and work off your hard drive, or sorry, off your own computer, that would probably be better. And if you can make some improvements to it and make a different variation, that's fantastic. Do that and share it with others. Now in the social media graphics here, we have the logo, the English logo, which is a black and a white version, a black text version and a white text version. We also have some graphics for social media. So we have some Instagram stuff that I've made here. Well, actually, these are the ones that Pete's made, actually. All to do with moths and the moth night that we're going to have on the Saturday. There's a whole bunch of things here that should be for the right size for Twitter. And there's also a number of these sort of video graphics that Larissa's made that can go with a bit of text on either Twitter. They're probably a bit tall for Twitter, but they do work, or Instagram or Facebook. And there are some other graphics here as well somewhere, which I probably haven't just put in the right spot, that we can provide for you to do posts if you wish. We also have a Canva account that we've set up and we will share that with you if you wish to use it, where we've set up some templates that you can just drop a picture behind and then easily post it to Facebook and Twitter. So with our previous work with the City Nature Challenge, we found that if we could come up with a couple of decent templates, and then you just drop a picture behind there of of what some of your local animals, and something that you can do to choose which animals to put in there is to look at your area and find out which are the most observed animals in your particular area, and you can pop some decent pictures of those up there in that. I've done a few for each area on my Twitter account, saying, welcome to the GSB. I did some for Lake Macquarie because there's some really good pictures actually from that area of sharks and marine life. So I've used the ones that are free to use, I suppose. So you've just got to be careful of the actual copyright on them. If they're some rights reserved, they usually you can use them as long as there's no commercial gain. So I've been doing that, and also attributing authorship to them as well. That's also fairly important. Just make sure you write down, it's somewhere in your tweet, or you do a bit of graphic over the top, which I've been doing with some of the graphics, what the species is, and who took the picture, and whether it's copyright or not. Okay, because we don't want to be posting other people's stuff without attributing it. Okay, so so I've just sort of digressed there for a little bit. But social media is very important, at least to get awareness out there and get support. That's what we found during the City Nature Challenge, particularly in South Australia anyway. That's from our experience. We also have, what am I on now? Twitter. So we have 2 Twitter accounts. I mentioned that. If you are on Twitter, let me know, and we will use your handle in our posts if they're relevant. And if you also, if you have a social media post that you wish to for us to make on the GSB account, there's a form there that you can just easily just tick whether you want it on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Put a short bit of text and put a graphic in there and just send it in, and then we can easily just post that, and we'll do that relatively quickly, and then I'll go to the main account and be sent out from there. Okay, and that'll make my job a bit easier, because thinking of things all the time to say and do is a bit difficult. Okay, now next, contact with partners. Now, you can approach different partners in different areas, and sometimes you will have people will be in different positions to be able to do this. So Margot, I think, is with the council, so it's a bit easier for you because you've already got that. We've got a few groups that are basically centred on councils, which is great. It's fantastic because you've already got those networks in place. We had a bit of a difficulty last year in the city, or earlier this year in the City Nature Challenge, but sort of getting into these some of these groups, and which would really benefit from using this program. I'll just make an anecdote here. I've been trying to get the Friends of groups in South Australia involved, and they are basically conservation volunteers who are particularly tied to a park. And during the City Nature Challenge, we had really good success with one of the larger groups called Black Hill. It's just outside the city. And they were very engaged because they actually realised what it was, what these sorts of events could do for their group, and what they could do with what this sort of app can do for engagement within their park. But we could get no other responses from anyone else. But just over the last couple of months, I've been working on with the Friends of groups, and now all of a sudden they all want to get involved. So that's really good, but it just takes a bit of effort. In different areas, you'll get different responses. In Queensland, we've had really good response from Scouts. In South Africa, a quarter of the observations made by Cape Town, which have won the City Nature Challenge last 2 years running, were done by Scouts. In South Australia, I can't speak to the Scouts here. I just don't get a response. So you've just got to work on the area in the areas that you think will work, and the groups that you think will be responsive. And I think different groups will have different areas of success. But I think if we all work together, then other groups in certain areas will look across and go, oh, what are they doing? And then they want to get involved. So councils will look across and see other councils getting involved, and hopefully we'll grow this as a bit of an event to engage people in their local environment and looking at biodiversity. So there's a couple of ideas there. You know, you can approach the local council, and one of the ideas behind approaching council, I suppose Margot could probably have some input here if she wishes to. I think the value I see for this for local councils is helping generate biodiversity data, which can help with some of their the push towards understanding what kind of biodiversity occurs within council, and how council can help manage that biodiversity and engage the public with that biodiversity and understand how that has to be managed for the benefit of the community. It can also help with things like environmental health and like public health, getting people out into the environment and promoting that sort of engagement with the parks that the council does manage. So there's all sorts of things like that. It's those sorts of angles that you can take, and I think that Michelle had great success for that in Queensland as well earlier in the year. Another group you can, or another sort of group you can get involved with is land care groups, and particularly if you have contact with those guys, you can approach them and just let them know what's going on. You can send them messages on Facebook and say, you know, when you do a post, you know, have you seen this? This is a new post we're doing. You know, you might find this interesting, or approach them directly. Any citizen science networks within your region. I know there's a citizen science network in Canberra. I work closely with the guys down here in South Australia. They've been on board and they've been very helpful in doing all sorts of things, like doing short blog posts for me locally, and helping me do some engagement work. I've already said scouts and youth environment groups. We had a meeting recently with the young field naturalists in Adelaide, and Larissa did a great presentation. We had a really good response there. So there's sort of little things you can do. Those sort of students tend to, or younger people tend to be a bit more engaged, and they don't have those, you don't necessarily have the problems that you have with school groups with those guys as well. And I've also mentioned conservation groups, such as Field Friends of and Field Naturalists, those sorts of things. And another area is museums. State museums, I think we've had a bit of contact with those guys, but you know, local sort of museum type organisations, natural history sort of people, they can also be of help. And how can these various groups support the GSB in your city or region? They can help with marketing and promotion. They can even just by sharing posts, that can really help. Some of these groups can, they might want you to do a presentation. I'm doing a presentation in 2 weeks in the city, in the centre of the city on a Saturday morning for a local environmental group that's tied up with the council. So hopefully we'll get some good engagement with that. So they might want to do that with you, and they might put on the event, provide a lot of advertising. And again, this will depend upon where you are. We're lucky in South Australia, we don't have lockdown at the moment. Unfortunately, Pete and the guys in Victoria are going to be probably a bit hampered by this, unfortunately, but other people might not be. So it sort of depends on the area that you're in.
It's a bit of a wait and see up here in Queensland at the moment too.
Yeah, and things might go pear-shaped, you know, tomorrow. We don't know. And if it does, we're not going to abandon this as well, guys. If it does go pear-shaped, what we will do is we will push towards a backyard bioblitz type thing, which is what we did in April. And I think that's what they're going to have to do in a lot of the South American areas as well, unfortunately. But, you know, they're still keen and they're still happy to get involved. So that's great. And I think if we have to go to a backyard bioblitz, well, you know, it's about engagement and getting people out there and doing things. And if people are locked down, well, that makes this even more important because it gets them outside rather than sitting inside watching the television, getting all grumpy. So it's about, you know, it's got a lot of mental health aspects there as well, about getting people even into their own backyards. And you'd be surprised what biodiversity there is in a backyard. Pete was doing a bit in his backyard. I think Thomas did a lot in his backyard. He's one of the top observers in New South Wales, but he's a bit enthusiastic as well. So that's probably something else to do with it. Oops, what am I doing? And also these partners may want to use the data afterwards to look at engagement, say councils and so forth. They might want to look at the number of people, the increase of usage in their area, the number of observations and things like that. So there's a lot of upside for them as well. Also, we might try and put together a video or do some promotion. So if you do have any pictures of your area or people doing citizen science in your area, I've put together a small folder in the drive. Could you put some photographs up there and we can share them either on social media or make a little video of them? You know, things of, you know, like people engaging in citizen science in your area, doing sort of field naturally type sort of stuff. I know Pete's got some up there already, but we could do with some more. We might be able to do a couple of short videos with that. Also during the event, if you are having events in your area, little bio-blitzes, if you can encourage the people who are doing those sorts of things to take some photographs and upload them into the folder, that would be great. If we could just label them as per the instructions on the agenda, which is area, the state or region and a country, and the photo credit. I've also put in there a little spreadsheet. So if you do have a particular species, you can just write down the species as well, or any notes or comments about the picture. There's a couple of fields there. Okay. Yeah, so we also want pictures of cool plants and animals, spiders, vertebrates, things like that you take during the event. So if you do take some, just let us know which observations they are as well, because it's a bit hard for us to wade through all the observations to pick out the good one. Pete, Thomas and myself did an event just a couple of weeks ago where we took a whole bunch of photographs in something called an international, what was it called, Pete? The bio. Oh, he's muted again.
The Challenger bio, please.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah. So, and I was trying to look for some photographs that one of us took, and I just couldn't find them because they just get lost in the system. Okay. Now, teaching others how to use iNaturalist is the next thing I want to quickly talk about. First of all, we have 2 webinars type events that are going to be put on by Thomas and Pete in the next 2 weeks. Now, Thomas is a curator. He's got a lot of experience, and Pete's not far behind him. So they're both very knowledgeable on iNaturalist, and they're great presenters. They're really engaging and good presenters. So I'll put some, there's a Eventbrite event. It's posted on the GSB Facebook page. If you do need a link to it to post on other media, let me know. But I suggest that you promote that in your region. And if it gets, we can put other ones on. I can do one, or we can get, the guys might, want to do another one if we get good response. And that will all be about just the basics. How do I use iNaturalist? Okay, a good solid introduction. And I've seen Thomas do it before, and he's really good off the cuff. So yeah, he's really good. And Pete's really good as another one there as well. And they're also going to be doing one on beach combing, which will be probably good for you, Margot, in your area, which will be basically about beach combing and rock pooling. So I think Pete's going to do rock pooling, and Thomas is going to do beach combing. And they're sort of the aficionados on that as well. So we might look at doing a few more of those sorts of things, but that's a good place to start. Now, there's a lot iNaturalist, for those who haven't used it before or haven't used it that much. There are a lot of resources on their website. I'll put a few links in there as well. There's one on setting up and getting started, and it's got a whole series of different different steps you need to go through, and pointing out how to make an observation on an iPhone, how to make an observation on an Android, and how to make them on desktops. So you can show people these things, use these graphics in any sort of presentations that you want to do. They also do short videos, which you can post. I've been posting them to Facebook as well with an introduction. And there's a whole series of them. They're only short. They can be 2 or 3 minutes. And there's lots of them, and they're reasonably good quality. There's also an introduction to BioBlitz PowerPoint presentation, which is in the drive, which I showed you before. And you can go through that and do an in-person presentation if that's available for you. I'm not sure, how we're going to go with that in different regions, but we'll see how we go. I'm going to do a few of those myself in the coming weeks. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of things there, a whole bunch of links. If you do need any specific help with stuff, please send us an email to the generic inbox or to the Wix account, and one of us will respond, be it Pete, myself, Thomas, or even Seamus or Larissa, or whoever, or Michelle. So one of us will get back to you. Okay, and we can run through the various things that you need to. Just the other day, I spent some time with the people from Orange helping them set up their account and their project, and take them through answering quite a few questions. So as organisers, I know this is a bit new for some of you. So if you do need that extra support, it's fine. We can do that, and one of us will be able to help you out, I think.
And I might add too, if you do want to know how to approach your local scout group or anything like that, let me know. I'm one of the scout leaders here in Australia, so I can help you with that too.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So approaching scout groups and councils is Michelle's
Forte.
superpower. So if you do need that sort of help, and I'm sure, we just need to work together, I think. So if anyone's got some special expertise in that, or special insight, yeah, definitely offer that up. Okay, what am I down to? Oh, mate, this is rather long, Stephen. So some iNaturalist tips as well. Okay, so in iNaturalist, if you haven't really made a project before, or you're new making projects, you will see that when you have set up your project, there's a option to make a journal post, which you may or may not have used. Some people don't use it that often. I would suggest that you do use it a little bit, and you can use it in the following manner. If you go into your iNaturalist, I'll bring up iNaturalist now and I'll show you what will.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, Stephen, that I've put in the chat function here the link to the agenda in case you haven't put your written.
Thank you.
That you've been here.
Yep.
And as I said, if anyone wants to talk to any of us, you can also private message us during this function too.
Yep.
If you want any help with anything you don't want to say it out loud.
Yep, for sure. So this is the City Nature Challenge for Greater Adelaide from last year. So when you set up your project and it said some observations, it'll look like this. So what you can do is if you go into your project, you can go into Edit Project. This is just a few little tricks here. So if you want to make some journal posts initially about your area, just bear with me here. What I would do is I would actually try and find the power users or the users that are in your area. There might be quite just a few that are big users, or there might be people that might not be very many users at all. So you want to start to get those people involved. So what I would do is I'd actually just go in and duplicate your project. Or if you've got only one area, which some of you do, say Canberra, just do a search for Canberra, the Canberra area. The reason why I'm doing this is because my area is quite big. It's got quite a few different LGAs in it. So I've made a bit of a duplicate here. And then you can just have a look in your area. You'll have you can change the settings on your area. I'm probably doing this a bit of a funny way, where you can go in and get rid of the date range. Or alternatively, one thing you can do, because we've been in COVID and you want to try and find the people that have been there recently in that area, you can.
Wait, Stephen, are you doing this as a way to find the most productive users in a region?
I am, and I'm not doing it the right way, am I?
All you have to do is go to the top search bar.
Yeah.
So you don't need to do it like this at all. So if you just go to search.
The reason why I've been doing it this way is I've just realised I've got like a lot of different places in there. So if we go to camp in my my actual project areas, so if we go to Canberra, because I know that's actually a state, and that'll work out. If you go here, you'll see you have all of these observations, and you can see the number of observers. Now, if you hit on the observers, they should be ranked from the highest to the lowest. Okay, so you can see, but see, some of those people might not make most of their observations in Canberra, and because everyone's been in lockdown. One thing you can do is you can add a filter and select the date range. So because we haven't had many people, we can probably look at the last couple of months and see who's been in that area in the last couple of months.
Did you select the individual date as well?
No, I didn't, sorry. I thought that I did. Okay, let's go a bit further back. Thanks, Thomas. All right, that should work. Okay, so we have a few less. We have 86 observers, which is a bit more manageable. And these are your top observers. So what you can do is when you make let's go to a different project, a journal post. Go into here. You go in here and make project journal. You go new post, and then you can put a title on there. You can make some text as to whatever you want to say. And then those particular people that you were looking at, those different usernames, if you put an @ symbol at the beginning, like this, and then the username, that will they will get an alert when that gets posted, that they've been mentioned. Okay, so you can try and increase participation of the people who will be using iNaturalist, and that's probably a good place to start.
Stephen, just to clarify though, because this is a collection project, regardless of whether they're actively participating or not, their observations will contribute to the BioBlitz.
Correct. However, we want to try and get them to go out during the weekend, because what happens is,
activity.
yeah, you increase their activity. So sometimes they'll go out once a month, you know, like they might go out on a Saturday or every second Saturday. You want them to go out on that particular Saturday. And if they can, you want to try and encourage them. Maybe if you were thinking about going out, but you know, you'd rather go to the pub, you want to try and get them to increase their activity on that particular day. So that's why you could probably start with them and let them know that it's about, because they might not know. And they might be pretty enthusiastic and then think, oh, you know, well, I might go out and make, you know, I usually go out and make 50 observations and I don't upload them for another week or two later. But, you know, hey, this is a bit of a fun competition. I'll upload a few more and get my mates to come out and, yeah, we can do some stuff. So that's the idea behind it. So if you let people know who are actively using iNaturalist, it's probably it's a low hanging fruit to get them to actually be active on that particular day or that particular weekend at some point, because they might not go out that weekend. They might stay home and watch a movie rather than go out because they're going to go out the next week. Okay.
Sorry, can I make a question?
Yeah, sure.
Does the person need to be a member of the project for their observations during that date to be counted or not?
No. The way that all the projects should be set up, and that's why we want to have either Larissa, myself, or Annabella on all of the South American projects, and one of us Australians on all the Oceania projects, is to make sure that they're set up correctly. But all of the projects should collect any observations made in the area over the weekend.
The only thing, literally the only thing that becoming a member gets you is that any journal posts that get posted for the project, you'll see them on your dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the only thing that you get out of being a member.
Yeah.
Okay. And it needs to be posted also until is it 29th when they'll count the number of observations. I mean, it doesn't matter if I observed something on the 25, but then I only upload the picture like in October. That will not count for the bias, right? Okay, yeah, that's what I want to.
Yeah, so they'll have to be observed during the 4 days and then uploaded, I think it's 10 days, within the 10 days after that.
Okay.
On our project, we have had actual observations they've kept on, that they have increased over the last couple of weeks. We've had one or two come in because people have uploaded observations that they saw that weren't part of the project during that time.
Okay.
The good thing about having members on the project, I suppose, is they get journal posts. So if you're going to do journal posts, that's good. And also they can easily find what's going on if they're going to get involved in the weekend to find out where they are and things like that. We also have the umbrella project as well, which shows you the leader board and things like that. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but I'll just show you that now. So people might want to get involved in that. And there are different things that you can promote, particularly on the weekend as well. Where are we at? Umbrella. So you'll have this. So when people make observations, there'll be a bar that comes up here, and the most observations will go to the top. So that's a bit of a fun thing to do. And a good thing for social media, I guess. Okay, so yeah, so in the notes there, it talks all about if you use the identifiers, the people's username in the journal post, that will encourage people who are using the app within your area to use during the weekend and become aware of what's going on. Okay, there's a little bit here about prizes and rewards. If you've got a capacity to do that to encourage people, I don't see a problem with it. I don't think that should be a major part of it, but different people are motivated by different things. I don't think any of us are really that well funded, so I don't think the prices are going to be extravagant. But things like museum visits or any of those sorts of things, I guess, or a bit of kudos. I think Orange are going to make the person give them some sort of kudos on the council website, which is fine. And a bit of a fun thing, most active or most observed, or those sorts of things are pretty fun. I think I've got access to some local natural history books through a connection, so I might do something like that for the Adelaide area. Give it to a young observer, sort of under 25, I think. We'll see how we go. I've got to make sure it's got to secure the books first. But I'm in a bit of a funny situation where I might be able to have access to some copies of quite a nice, hefty natural history book, which has got some really nice pictures in there, which is a really nice, relevant sort of thing to give out to people. But we don't want to distract from the main idea of the event, which is to get engagement. We don't want to give people overly reward people for that. Okay, Well, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. I think everyone in Australia has got their projects up, which is the main thing that I've been a bit concerned about getting up, which is cool. I think we need to probably get a bit of a move on some social media. If you have or haven't done that, just let us know what you can do. If you need help setting up a page, or if that's what you want to do, that would be great. If you want to get a partner to set up a page, like go through a Field Naturalist group and use them. That's what's happened with the City Nature Challenge in some areas, where it's been driven by a biological group. Okay, like a Field Naturalist type group. Okay, so does anyone have any questions or queries other than what we've already had? No. Does everyone have their social media? Do they have some sort of an idea what they're going to do for their social media? Getting some ideas or no?
I think most of us have pretty much got our ideas. How about you, Claudia?
If I was still in Brisbane, I'd have much more connections, but feeling a little bit disconnected, having only been back in Canberra about a year.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
I
and
can
also knowing
set
that-
you up with some people down there if you like. We've got an ACT chapter down there for the Australian Citizen
What's
Science
the Scout?
Association.
Oh, Citizen Science, yeah.
Yeah, and the head of that is one of the scout leaders in Canberra.
Okay,
Oh.
that's handy.
Okay.
Nice.
So
I am
if
in
you're
a few groups, entomology groups, and there's a nature art group which might be interested. So I'll see how they feel.
the other one I would probably look at too, if you're in Melbourne or Victoria, our guys in Australian Citizen Science Association Victoria chapter as well, they have a couple of scout leaders too. So I'm basically using all my feelers here to get through that. I was I presented yesterday for the Gympie STEAM Zone National Science Week event online. And the guy that was after me is also a scout leader down in Melbourne. So if you're wanting to, I'm starting to make all those connections too.
Yeah, I think the thing with the scouts is it's just a matter of getting the
word out. I have 3 posts on the Scout websites and forums at the moment that I just put up while you've been speaking. Sorry, Stephen.
No,
and I'm expecting they'll probably go live tomorrow morning, and then we might see an uptake there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand it's a bit difficult, Claudia. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of opportunity in Canberra. It's just a matter of getting access to and tapping in. And it might be.
I'm a little bit concerned because I noticed some established groups like the ornithologist group, and then so there's Canberra Nature Map, which people who are interested in nature probably already use in Canberra. And I guess once you're using one app, you're not really keen to switch to another or use another one in addition.
There's only probably about 300 or 400 people in Canberra that use that nature mapper though. It's not
so maybe this is
hugely
better
wide known.
Target at younger people who prefer the app.
Yeah,
and the cool computer vision aspect of it and so on.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just going to put my email in the chat.
You always have a bit of a challenge with the birders because they've got their own apps that they use. So with the really keen birders, they'll all be using the BirdLife. I think it's BirdLife or the local one.
eBird.
eBird, yeah.
Or AdicBird or whatever it's called.
But what you can, the angle you can take with them is that, that they use that for all their birds. But when they're out, what about the other things?
Yeah.
You know? And there's other things they can get involved with as well. Like there's a Hungry Parrots project as well. And that's the sort of thing you can do as well. So like...
do you want to just go in and have a look at some of the other citizen science projects that are also around Canberra in the iNaturalist search there? Where you explore,
if you could.
So if you're in there already, I think it's under more. You can go to more projects and look to see what's near you. So you can get them in with that hook that there's other projects out there too. Not just this one that they can use long term. There's also
The other one that's been happening is the Bush Blitz
Yeah.
backyard project, which interestingly was also promoted at my workplace. So wondering if that might be an option for us here as well. But knowing that Bush Blitz is already associated with Department of Environment and so on.
it's a tricky one, that one, but it is using, I believe, White Naturals.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to contact, I'm actually going to contact Maddie, who's both a scout leader and the person that's been running this relatively new organisation. It's in its second year now, Nature Stewards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will be a good way of having her nature stewards stay connected, especially whilst us dirty Melburnians aren't allowed near anybody.
Oh no, the Melburnians. Something else I would probably also say too is if you are wanting to get more scouts and stuff involved, have a look on Facebook. Most of the local scout groups actually have a Facebook page or some like portal. You can also go into the Scouts Australia website as well and find your local scout ones and send them emails that way and just ask if they want to be involved. That's another way to raise, I mean, you're already coordinating it, so you don't have to worry about someone coordinating it. So you're not trying to grab people to be coordinated. You're saying, I'm doing this project. Do you want to join in?
Yeah.
Now, when you are talking to scouts, here's the keywords to use. First one, badges. Scouts are all about the badges. In this case, this will go towards their World Environment badge, which is a great big huge badge like this, which I don't have my scout jumper on at the moment, and I've got it on here. It's about that big. It's massive. But that's the one that they can keep throughout their scouting career. So it's one of those really nice ones that they all want to get. The other one you can do is you can tell them you can do it as a special interest badge as well for using their phones or whatever, basically using their mobile phones for the power of good, not evil, pretty much. There's also some OAS, which is outdoor and adventure scouting badges as well, such as a naturalist badge and a hiking badge and a exploration badge. And so there's all these little keywords that you can sort of drop in.
You should make a list of those and put those in the.
I was going to do a blog post on it. I just haven't got to it yet. I really need to. I might do that tonight.
The other thing, if you wish to, we have a website which I've been showing you guys. On that website, I think I'm still showing my screen. We have some blog posts. Where are they? Oh, I thought they were here.
I don't know where they are at the moment.
No, that's not.
Under more?
Yeah, they're under here, but they're just not. Okay.
Not showing up.
Yeah, that's something's gone wrong. Okay, maybe I'm not logged in. If I go to the dashboard, I can show you the blogs. So we've had a few blog posts. So if you are interested in writing something relevant, we had a little bit of a guide about certain taxons. You know, write something about small mammals or insects or things like that. In here we have some. Can't quite see it. Let me see. Move this. So we have one on from Pete about moths, going out moth observing during the winter and lockdown. So this is something you can share in your area as well. So we have a few posts on our Facebook page, but you can go on here and just copy the URL and post them yourself if you wish. But there are some graphics in the English version of the the social media stuff.
I have a short, sort of funny post I wrote as an entry to a competition for Bush Blitz backyard Bio
Yep.
Blitz. So I might just contact them and make sure it's okay to share elsewhere, and that could be good to add.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're
about-
looking for.
Photographing insects mainly with your smartphone and how to focus and stuff like that.
Oh, that sounds like.
Mm.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so that sort of thing can go on here. So if anyone else who's on the call wants to contribute anything, please do. Yeah, mainly it's English at the moment, but a guy from Antonio from Brazil, from Peru, has written a short post in Spanish. So we've got a few posts up in Spanish. This one here, which is all about, I don't know what it's about because it's all in Spanish. Sorry. I haven't translated it. There's one here in both English and Portuguese as well from Larissa. And one here from a local in South Australia talking about taking photographs of sandflies and her project on iNaturalist. So I don't mind putting some more on there. So if you do wish to contribute, that's great. If you do wish to post these, that's another resource that is actually quite good because people do react to them, and it generates traffic to the any sort of Facebook page that you wish to put up. And like I said, Facebook seems to work reasonably well. I've been doing Twitter for a while, and I'm only sort of just getting my head around that. I'm sort of got too many balls in the air as well, so it's a bit hard. But that sort of stuff can be posted anywhere, and you can repost stuff that we've already put out or contribute. Okay. And we are starting to get quite a few people sign up to the website. So when you do post something, they'll get an alert. So it's good for you as well as a way to generate a bit of interest in what you're doing. Okay.
Sorry, just to butt in. Can we, just after this, we might have to check how those blog posts are being seen by everyone, because I can't get into them. So not from external when I'm not logged.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll have to look at that. All right. All right. Anything else? Does anyone else want to have anything they want to talk about? How are you going, Margot? Are you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Got my big list of community groups to get in contact with this week. Thinking that most of them will have a meeting online between now and the BioBlitz, and obviously amping it up a little bit more for Biodiversity Month as to a way people can get involved with that, with the Biodiversity Month. Then, yeah. So,
and I think we've struck gold with that in Australia as well, because it is Biodiversity Month, so that's good. Yeah. And Sue, are you under control?
Hopefully, I've got quite a few networks that I can get out to. I mean, we've got a Field Nats, a Victoria meeting, council meeting tomorrow night.
Nice.
And I've got quite a few meetings. I've got connections with land care, environmental volunteers, the environmental volunteer coordinator in Shire of Yarra Ranges, and so on and so forth.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I think the Victorians are pretty well organised. I think Rod's he's been doing some really good groundwork there as well. So he's paved the way as well. So that's good.
Yeah, Rod's well organised.
He is. He's very well organised. And Jessica, are you comfortable now? You got some other ideas?
I was a Girl Scout all my life, but the whole problem now in Brazil is the disease, of course.
Yes.
We're having very poorly, and it's kind of complicated to advertise like go outside with your friends and these kind of things because most of the parks in the cities are closed.
Yeah, sure.
The place where I live, I actually live in the forest pretty much. I live in the jungle. Now, as I said, I don't actually stay in Alta Floresta City. It's a small town, about 50,000 inhabitants, but I'm in touch with some former professor of the university. So they do have a state university that might be the place to engage people because they have like agronomical, like related to biology studies.
Yeah.
So hopefully the students might want to join and just walk around the forested areas in the town. But it's hard to make like a big movement. Like I could talk to many friends I have in other states, but those states are really needing to have people in, not out. So it's kind of complicated. But me and the other colleague guides will be out because we are out. We live in here. And yeah, otherwise the ones in the city that can contribute in a safe way.
Yeah, and that's what we had. We're in a similar situation. We were very fortunate in South Australia because we were coming out of the restrictions, but in other places there was a lot of restrictions about where people couldn't necessarily go outside too much, and that's probably something we have to push in Brazil and in South America. But I think if you network in with people like Marcos and Benjamin, I think they're going to be really good help in Brazil. They're pretty connected and they've got some really good ideas. I was talking to Marcos earlier today, last night probably. I'm not sure of the time. Yeah, and he's pretty enthusiastic. So I think if you work together as like we did with Australia, if the Brazilians work together and coordinate their approach, they can try and get a bit more of this backyard BioBlitz type thing going for those who can't.
Especially because in all the cities, the backyards will have wild species. So
yeah,
going to visit, I'm talking about birds and insects, obviously, not the plants. But
yeah. Well, things like weeds, even weeds, like growing in the cracks in the concrete. They're things that they can make observations of. Underneath plants as well.
Seriously, we had people BioBlitzing their cupboards and their pantries and, finding the silverfish and finding the cockroaches and finding the other little bits and pieces that you'd never believe. I had one person actually do the back of their cat's neck to find the fleas. So God. Seriously, you can find biodiversity anywhere, and you can have one of your challenges as, find something that is in your pantry, living in your pantry.
Yeah, what I was considering, like I said on the email, in Brazil, you need to use Portuguese. People, although we are in South America, people don't speak Spanish, and most people don't speak English. I mean, if you do use English or Spanish, I think you're going to be marrying the audience to people who got access to more education, and not necessarily they're going to be the only ones willing to participate. So I think we could try to, I started advertising like on my Facebook, but I think these days in Brazil, Instagram is a bigger thing with younger people. What I see, it's being restricted to people my age and older. So the youngsters use more the Instagram. So if you use the right language and make sure you use the COVID as like the main thing. Like, are you tired of just, staring at Netflix? Maybe when I just take a look around where you can, please don't go in big groups, please don't go where it's these kind of things, but like to go out and watch biodiversity, because I do have some colleagues that are not biologists or not related to nature at all. and they just started sending me pictures of birds they watch from the window and asking me to ID and these sort of things. And people are not related to nature at all, and just started noticing things that might be.
That was actually one of my next points was don't just pick on the biodiversity, the biology students at the university. Ask the business students, and you could put them into a form as a question. You know, if you were running, say, a tourism operation as a business, how would more biodiversity help you? What can you see around you now that you could sell? And that will actually make them go, oh, let me think, let me watch. So you've really got to, like you said, you've got to tailor it. And the best thing is to do is ask a question.
The other thing is
Right,
also,
hashtags.
the other thing I was thinking, Jessica, is that we've got a whole series of posts that we did during the City Nature Challenge that we could maybe show you or put into the Canva and give you access to the Canva site. Canva is like a graphics editing platform. I don't know if you've seen that before, but it's free. Yeah, it's free, and we can share, give you access to the same thing, so we can all use the same platform. And there's a lot of ideas that Michelle generated, particularly in April, around that sort of idea of backyard bioblitz, with a countdown sort of effect. So you can probably have a look at the sort of the structure of what we've done and translate into Portuguese.
Yeah.
And help promote it throughout Brazil, because I think that's the important thing with the challenges that we have because of the COVID-19. It's important that rather than we have this city nature challenge approach of everyone's trying to beat each other and be the best, I think it's more important that we work together and just promote engagement. So if you can get Brazil working together and coordinating, it makes it a bit easier, a bit more. It works a bit better. I think that's what we found in Australia anyway. We worked with Michelle, myself, Thomas, and Pete and Rod. We coordinated a lot of our approaches. We shared graphics, and we promoted all the same graphics on all platforms, and we just reached different target audiences.
Different questions, different days.
Might be better because it's such a broad country, and of course, I mean, I'm only representing such a small version of it, which I don't even. It's not where I'm from. I just live in the hotel, like I said. So maybe, I mean, maybe take advantage of some of the logos and create some materials to talk about Brazil in general. Especially, it's very important to explain iNaturalist because it's kind of a new thing for most people, and maybe most of them will use on the phone, which I don't.
It's a bit of a new thing here too.
Yeah, it's not that easy, Many people, I mean, WhatsApp is really big in Brazil and they share pictures, so I'm sure they would appreciate just like posting their pictures on iNaturalist, but the whole idea of like IDing and like scientific names, it's very, very tricky for the average Brazilian, I would say.
Yeah.
Usually biologists are the ones getting more involved, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, this is a chance for them to help and for them to learn, and also it's a community effort. They don't always 100% get the ideas right, but the rest of the community will usually pull them up and say, hey, it's here. Or you do actually end up finding the experts in your community. I mean, I know Seamus and Thomas and Pete can probably point you towards the ones in that area, or they'll know of someone of who to ask, who your area experts are, and perhaps getting them involved and on board as well as one of those blog posts might be the best way you can. The best way you can go the other way, go through iNaturalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get those other museum type people, and it'll grow there, and people become more interested. And as people use the app, they might not be interested in learning the names, the scientific names, more the common names, but just by using the app, it'll increase their knowledge of the local name.
Yeah, I think it has a great potential.
Yeah.
Just about getting them to start with iNaturalist first, I think.
Yeah, this is the first year we're running it as Great Southern BioBlitz. So we are all new at this as well. So this is basically we'll see how this goes and we'll build on it next year. So we're not expecting fabulous things like they get in the City Nature Challenge now after 5 years. But this is our baby step here.
Yeah.
No, it's nice.
Yeah. So we're all very keen to try and increase the availability of different language resources for people, but it's very limited here as well because we've only got Larissa who speaks and can write a bit in Spanish, but obviously is very good at Portuguese. We just got to try and develop those things, and I really want to. And we're looking at logos now. We've got, I think the South Americans, that we're going to have a Portuguese logo, particularly for the northern part of Brazil, because people just don't understand the English. It doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah. Where I am, people don't speak English. Nobody.
Yeah, it might as well be
Even
Chinese. So why would you have? And we weren't, to be honest, and to be frank, we didn't know what to expect, and I think we were a bit unprepared for such the great response we've had in South America. Which is fantastic, so we've just been trying to catch up on a few of those things, but we don't have the resources. We're all doing this for free, pretty much.
I mean, don't worry. I think we'll do our best here as well. I mean, I might not even. I work in the hotel, and it's like all the time, so I don't even know if I'm going to be able to actually participate in the challenge if I'm guiding or not. But I mean, the whole idea of just bringing people to use it, because I was very thrilled when I started using iNaturalist, because it's a very good platform, like the birders have theirs. It's not that big in Brazil yet, but it is growing, and hopefully with this advertisement, more people will join.
Yeah, for sure. And if you want to share any good pictures you've taken, good observations with some text in Portuguese, I'll post that on our platform, and so will Larissa. So it makes it easier for us as well, because we can just schedule posts, and any sort of with that. If you don't have the capacity locally, or you want some extra support to get a bit of the algorithms are a bit complicated. They're funny things.
Yeah,
so,
it all depends on your timing and what you're saying.
But with that, what we've done here as well, which I'll show you just before we've probably got to wrap up soon. But if you go into this folder here, which you should have access to. If you don't, please let me know, and I'll
I do. I was just on it.
Yeah. So if you go into there, I'm not really sure it's really showing. Where is it? It won't show me the file. Why can't I? Sorry, I can't seem to bring it up. Oh, here we go. So in here, what I've done is I've opened up we've got a Google Sheets document in there. And just to help people with their social media, what I've started is to have this sort of structure in a way that's easier to look at. So here we have social media accounts for Facebook, okay? We have the country and the state. So if you're going to make a post with regards to, if I'm going to make a post with regards to, say, Queensland, I know that's the area organizer. And if I have a bit more of a look, I don't really have much on Queensland. I might want to look
That was me. Hi.
Hi. I might want to do some land care stuff. So Wild Orchid Watch, which is a citizen science project locally about flowers. Various friends of groups. Facebook's probably not a good one because I haven't done much work on that. I can't see a thing here.
Is it okay to do it as a personal account? Because I can't, I mean, I'm not going to do from the hotel.
No. You can do it.
No.
You can do it from a personal account. You can even set up your own with
Instagram and everything. It's free.
Instagram. You set up another account. So what I do, I have 2 or 3 accounts on my phone. Just post from different things. So
7.
yeah, it's crazy. So here we have some Twitter. So we have, again, the same thing, continent, country, handle. So we might want to create a bit of, talk to other people. Like you might want to say something as a post, in Australia, they have, or in Adelaide, they have, the most popular thing to see is the magpie. Our most popular bird in our area is I don't know. I don't know.
Rose.
I don't know. I can't think of a South American bird. A macaw. I don't know. I don't know what you get in your area. So you might, and you can.
Yeah, so many.
Sorry, capybara.
In my area, I have like 600 bird species, but the big ones would be probably the best ones to use.
Yeah.
People can tell the macaws, yeah.
Macaws, yeah. So yeah. So you have 2 pictures side by side, which one will win? Something like this. I don't know. And you can have a look, and then you can look to tag people in different areas as well, and you can see who's the organizer in another part of Brazil. So you might want it to get increased views in Brazil. You might want to tag some people. So what I've done down here is I've started. So there's a few in Kenya because there's a guy in Kenya he's also doesn't have much resources. So I'm trying to tag a few things in Kenya to get a bit of interest there. And South America's down the bottom here. So you can just add these. This is a document that you have access to. So you can just add things in there and put in, say, South America, Brazil, and then your state. For Brazil, so I'll put in here the World Wildlife Fund for Brazil. So if I want to do some posts for Brazil to try and encourage that, I can encourage participation. I can tag accounts that have big following in Brazil to try some interest. And then also you've got to watch at look at the tags that you use as well. So I have some ideas for tags, and I can actually send you some information which Michelle has kindly helped out with. There's a couple of websites you can go to look at things like specific tags. So there's biodiversity and citizen science are the 2 ones that I'm probably interested in. So you can look at these, and I'll do this now. I'll do this now because this is actually something that's.
I've just put something else in the chat too. There's a network of binationalist nodes around the world. If you can find the tag for the node as well, they will help you get the word out as well.
Do you have the link to your Node Excel?
Oh, yep, sure. Hang on a sec.
Do
you want to shut yours down and I'll share mine? I'll show you how it works.
There you go. Yep. So Michelle, this is pretty interesting for some people, not for others. But particularly if you need to improve engagement, and this might be good for you, Claudia, as well, because I think anyway, Michelle will share it. Oh, you're not.
Let me just grab the link here. All right, I'll share my screen. Oh, no, you've disabled the sharing of the screens. Oh, there it is.
No?
All right, so just so you know, this is something that I do as the coordinator for the Australian Citizen Science Association. And one of the things is Karen Cooper over in the USA originally asked these guys, the Social Media Foundation Research Project, to find out just who was using the hashtag citizen science versus, say, CitSci. So if you look in here, you've got all these big round balls, basically. These are different Twitter handles that are using citizen science as their hashtag. In here, you'll find they're usually doing citizen science, CitSci, Science Data, Science, CitSci Oz, citizen science projects, etc. in there. If we go to this interactive graph down here, and I will stick this in the chat just so you can see where I'm at. And let's go into, say, this big one right here. Okay, so in here, the larger the circle is, the more followers they have. The closer into the center, the more of an influencer they have. So if you wanted to find someone from, say, your neck of the woods, they might not be in this English speaking section. Rather, they might be, say, possibly in one of these ones over here. But you'd probably have to look up, so how do you say citizen science in Portuguese? If you can write it for me in the chat.
It's in the chat, yeah.
Yep, I can.
Ah.
Yes.
I
So
start
you'll be
using-
looking, yes, you'll be looking for that. All right, so let's go back to here.
Might have to search without the accent marks.
I should be able to do it as that. See, here's your two places so far that are actually talking about citizen science in Portuguese. So these ones would be the ones that I'd be going in Brazil. This is who's talking about it.
They've only got a
And
small amount of followers though.
you've only got a small amount of followers. There was another one as well. This one here. Who again, don't have that many followers either, but haven't posted for a while.
Yes, that's probably
So
not a good one. Yeah.
there's also the, okay, this is one of the pages I run, and if
Did you?
you go into our list, there's a list there for citizen science in South America. So just go through that, trawl through that, and find out who actually, you know, basically is doing citizen science, and tag them in all your posts.
Michelle, did you try that without the space?
Yeah. Ugh. There's the Peru, that's the other one, Redcap. So this is the the new and upcoming citizen science association for South America as well.
See, that's probably not a bad one, even though they've only got, you know, you used to see 700. That's probably not that bad.
That's pretty bad, pretty good. And if you also, let's say, go into here, I believe they were just making their new website. I don't know if it'll show up to me because I'm not in. So if you go to these guys and say, hey, can you help me? I'll put them in here. No worries, Sue. So if you go into these guys and say, hey, I've joined this and I'm running this, can you help me to get the word out? They have members already in their community that they can help you, push stuff out with. And they have members that speak English, Portuguese, and Spanish. So this would be the guys I would be going through, if you can. Okay, I'll stop my share now. So that, I'm hoping, Jessica, that will give you a little bit more idea of who you can talk to down there. Because a lot of that other citizen science one is all done in English. So you really need the Spanish, Portuguese, South America type area for that one. And these guys would be the best ones to go. And by all means, if you are doing stuff in Twitter or anything like that, by all means tag SitsIOS as well, and we will help you get the word out. We average around about 200,000 views every month, so we can help you get the word out about that too.
So even if it's in the wrong area, it's still, because you're getting reviews, you're getting responses, it means that you actually get viewed a bit more anyway.
Yes. And the background behind Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and all these guys is, once you start getting someone retweet and their followers see it, they bump you higher up on the list of who they're going to show you to. So they'll show it to, and Twitter's great because it's got a function in it where it can translate. But they're the ones where you tag, say, the Citizen Science Associations, iNaturalist, and to say you're doing it. And then they can help you then, spread the word, basically. That's what we've used it for. On Twitter, you're basically preaching to the converted. They already know about citizen science mostly, and they're happy to help you out. And that's actually one of the things I like about Twitter. But then you can say, hey, Twitter people, hashtag CNTA, isn't it? Or citizen science in your language, and citizen science in the hashtag. Jump on board and follow us so we can show you the best from Brazil, the best from Colombia, or the best from South America, or whatever you want to do.
And the best thing you can do is really, to get that engagement, is to show pretty pictures of animals, vertebrates, insects, and plants.
There's a new saying in social media: a picture says 1,000 words, but a video says 10,000. Okay, so if you get a little 5-10 second video, just even a little GIF or something, we're trying to do it with the City Nature, the GSB logo. The idea originally that we had was to be able to turn the world and get everyone's Great Southern BioBlitz places in there, as well as the different languages as well. But that's still coming.
Yeah. So that goes with you as well, Claudia. Those sorts of things will help out as well in Canberra, particularly that chart. You don't have to have a big following to have a reasonable impact. So do use those, and it's just a matter of pretty pictures, nice little comment,
right hashtags,
tagging
the right people, and doing it at the right time. You'll find a lot of businesses will be on during business hours, but like the Land Care and the Scouts and all these guys will be on after hours. So if you want to tag someone, you figure out what sort of person when they're online most tweeting, and then you tag them at the time they're online the most.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's me just being very scheduled. That's all.
Yeah, but it can really help, and it'll be different in different areas. So with the Facebook, there are certain times, and you can look at the analytics to see when people are online as well. And that'll be different in Brazil as well.
Yeah, so for us here in Australia-wide, it doesn't really pick up until about 9 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night, because we have several hours lag between the East Coast and the West Coast. We're roughly the same size as continental USA. So it takes about 53 hours to drive from the East Coast to the West Coast here in Australia, providing you don't have traffic or, kangaroos trying to take you out. But that time zone difference means that at 9 a.m. in the morning here in the East Coast, the West Coast is just waking up. So they're getting on their phones and they're starting to check stuff. So sort of for us, we try and post around about lunchtime, morning tea time, afternoon tea time, just after dinner, just before bed. So that's kind of our posting schedule, really.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions from anyone? Sorry if I ramble on.
Well, it's good. It's good information, particularly for people who are new to this sort of thing. I know you taught me a lot, Michelle, and I'm still learning. So yeah, social media is the most important thing for engagement, and when you get that momentum, then I think people pick it up, and those sort of, you know, a lot of the land care groups and things like that in Australia, the friends of groups, they're an older demographic, so they're a bit resistant to picking up those sorts of new apps, new technologies, but they do have the time and they do have the money to go out there and do these sorts of things.
And most of them are on Facebook.
And most of them are on Facebook. So that's what Facebook's very successful here. Once you can break into that, and I do a lot of engagement with those sort of older people, but the target audience in different areas will be different. I think, Claudia, your target audience will be very similar to mine.
So your Instagram followers are more those entry level, wanting to be famous type people.
Yeah.
Would be Instagrammers. So they're 13 to sort of 25 to 30 group. After that, they usually have kids and stuff. They drop off a bit, or they might do Twitter, or they might do to try and keep up with what's happening in their field.
Yeah.
So your Twitterites are more your 30 to 45, 50-year-olds. And then after that, you've got your Facebook people, which are more your, probably I would say 40 plus, really.
Yeah, engagement on Instagram is very difficult because you get very little pickup in Australia anyway, because people are they're not interested in the environment who are on Facebook. They're interested in other things, tattoos and looking good in front of a pool, which is unfortunate. But there is a bit of an environmental thing on there, which it's just a matter of tapping into it the right way. And I have failed epically at Instagram. But there's a guy in Brazil, Marcos, who seems to be on top of it.
You've really got to have the right photo and the right hashtags, and you'd have to find out what the right hashtags are in your area.
Yeah,
environmental hashtags are always good. Here in Australia, we've got the hashtag WildOz, WILDOZ, which basically, if someone has a question on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, they will hashtag it WildOz, and you'll usually get one of the experts come back and tell them what it is.
Yeah.
So you can then go into that hashtag, look up that hashtag and actually find out who is responding to those posts, where they live, particularly find out the ones that are in your language, in your local area, and go from there. And that's basically how you do it in a systematic manner.
Yeah.
So you're not wasting your time. Yeah.
WildOz, nature,
environment,
climate change,
citizen science or equivalent,
biodiversity, particularly as the year of biodiversity, it'll be Biodiversity Month. These are all ones you want to use in Australia. Biodiversity, or the Portuguese equivalent, I'm going to butcher that, I won't even try it. UN biodiversity as well is another one. And those will show up on that Node Excel thing as well. You'll see those. And they're really good ones. But yeah, WildOz is very good in Australia.
Yeah.
And also use the Citizen Science or Atlas of Living Australia as well, which is the...
in Australia, yeah.
In Australia, yeah.
So the Atlas of Living Australia here, Claudia, is the node for iNaturalist. So if you tag them, they know we're happening. They're going to be helping spread the word, but not until Biodiversity Month, which is next month. So they wanted to get over National Science Week, which, Jessica, just so you know, was this last week we've just had. Really busy week in Australia for anyone who's had anything at all to do with science. So yeah, they've got it on their schedule, which is good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a lot to take in for you new guys, and I'm glad you stuck around. I really want to support you in both Canberra and Brazil. I know it's a bit of a new thing for you, Claudia. I'm really happy that it's great. And I've been trying to promote it a little bit as well. And it's really good that you're in Brazil. And just send me your social media links, put them in the spreadsheet, and I'll do what I can to help out from here. I've got a very small following on my accounts, but they're all in the center of that node. So, Michelle as well is very connected. So we can do our best to sort of help out.
Yeah, so if you guys get stuck or you can't remember what I said or anything like that, I did put my email in there. It's secretary@citizenscience.org.au. By all means, flick me an email and I'll give you a call or something, or we'll have one of these Zoom meetings one night and we'll go through it and I'll help you out with the tagging and all that sort of stuff. And Claudia, if you want to send me an email as well, and I will introduce you to John Pring down in ACT.
Yep.
And we can get all this citizen science meets scouts underway as well.
That'd be great.
He also works for Geoscience Australia, so he's one of the senior type people in there too. So he's got all of those little feelers out there for anything at all to do with GPS and GIS. So he's probably the one to talk to down there.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to head off. Do you need to talk to me about anything, guys? Thomas, or no? Excellent. All right. Well, I will catch you later. See you next time. I think the meeting is next Friday night for South America, Jessica. If you're invited to that, I don't know if you're going to go to that, but it'd be good for you to meet up with people. Yeah, it's great to see you in here tonight. It's fantastic to put a face to a name and in English. Understand what you're saying. Very much appreciated. Okay, I'll catch you all guys later. You guys later. Bye.
Hi guys, thanks Stephen, thanks Michelle, and
Bye,
Tom
Tom.
for encouraging me.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good.